नमस्सर्वेभ्यः कक्ष्यायां स्वागतम्। भवन्तः सर्वे संस्कृतभारत्याः तृतीयस्तरे अर्थात् शिक्षास्तरे आगतवन्तः पाठान् स्वीकर्तुम् इति महान् सन्तोषः। अस्मिन् स्तरे यद् एतावत्पर्यन्तं प्रवेशपरिचयस्तरे पाठितं तद्रीत्या एव दशसु पाठाः दशपाठाः भवन्ति। तेषु भिन्नभिन्नक्रमेण भिन्नभिन्नविषयाः पाठ्यन्ते। व्याकरणे तु अस्मिन् स्तरे शतृशाणच् प्रत्ययान्तानां प्रयोगः पाठ्यते। अपि च व्यञ्जनसन्धीनाम् एतावत्पर्यन्तं भवन्तः स्वरसन्धीनां ज्ञानं प्राप्तवन्तः। अस्मिन् स्तरे व्यञ्जनसन्धीनां ज्ञानं प्राप्नुमः। मम नाम अनुजः। मम नाम अनुजः। अहं न तु भवतः शिक्षकः, अहं न तु संस्कृतपण्डितः, अहमपि अन्यवाङ्मये अर्थात् अभियन्तारूपेण कार्यं कृतवान् अस्मि। इदानीं निवृत्त्यानन्तरं संस्कृतवाङ्मये प्रवेशं प्राप्य पठन् अस्मि। अहमपि छात्रः, परन्तु यत्किञ्चित् मया एतावत्पर्यन्तं ज्ञातं तद् ज्ञानं यथाशक्ति यथामति अन्यान् पाठयितुम् उपयोगं करोमि इति चिन्तयित्वा अस्मिन् पाठ्यक्रमे प्रविष्टोऽहम्। अस्तु, अस्मिन् स्तरे किञ्चित् संस्कृतवाक्यानां प्रयोगः किञ्चित् अधिकं स्यात् इति मनसि अस्ति। यथाशक्ति तदपि कर्तुम् इच्छामि। यत्र कुत्रापि यद् मया उच्यते मम अशुद्धवचनात् वा अथवा प्रारम्भिकज्ञानस्तरस्य भाषाज्ञान अभावात् वा किमपि न ज्ञायते चेत् पृच्छ्यताम्। यथाशक्ति वर्णयितुम् अन्यभाषासु अर्थात् आङ्ग्लभाषायां वर्णयितुं यत्नं करोमि अपि। Welcome all to these Shiksha lessons. The medium of teaching will be a mixture of Sanskritam and English. I will try to, as best as is my capability, increase the amount of Sanskrit sentences that I will utilize. But definitely, due to my lack of ability in conveying the matter clearly, sometimes in Sanskritam, and also given that we are all learners in the Sanskrit world, sometimes if you don't understand specifically something, you are free to ask specific questions to get clarifications. So as usual, the Shiksha Stara also has 10 lessons. 11th and 12th lessons are specific details that are reference and assist for the first 10 lessons. And then there are some optional sections for your self-perusal. Okay. There is also a section where all the intermediate questions asked in each lesson are there. So you're familiar with the book format. The same format is followed. On the right column, you will see all the important grammar aspects that are being taught. Though the Vyanjana Sandhi is not mentioned as a list here, the Shatru and Shanach and then Sati Saptami or Sat Saptami Prayoga and few other important things that are there in the book with grammar in mind are also indexed here on the right. What is the Shatru and Shanach? They are actually current continuous. Okay, current continuous tenses. That is, whenever some other activity is happening in some time, past, present, or future, along with that activity, if another activity is being concurrently carried out, so that concurrent activity will use this Shatru Shanach Pratyaya to become a subordinate clausal verb in the sentence. As you guys are aware, every Sanskritam sentence has one verb. Ekating Vakyam is the most important formula in grammar. Ekating vakyam. A sentence in Sanskritam has only one thing. What is a thing? It is a Kriya Pada. Okay, thing is a Paninian designation because he calls the Kriya Pratyayas as thing Pratyayas. So, thing itself is used to mean the word with the thing ending. So, Ekating Vakyam, one active Kriya Pada in a sentence, no more. So, that active Kriya Pada essentially is a Tinganta. So, Bhavati, Gacchati, Pathati, like this. And as you know, there are that what I mentioned is just a present tense Latlakara Prathama Purusha Ekavachana form, but there are 9 forms. Prathama Purusha Ekadvi Bahu, Madhyama Purusha Ekadvi Bahu, Uttama Purusha Ekadvi Bahu, and then there are 10 Lakaras, 10 or 11 based on how we count, which Lakaras are actually the various tenses and moods of the Kriya Pada. So it's a little complex world out there, but one given sentence has only one thing, and many times that thing is also missing. It is not explicitly mentioned, especially the Bhavati and Asti Kriya Pada, and in some places even Karoti Kriya Pada sometimes disappears, elites, because it is very obvious and it is understood easily. Okay. For example, in English, when I say my name is Anuj, is the Kriya Pada. Okay. So in Sanskritam, Mama Nama Anujaha, we stop. We don't need to say Asti, which is the equivalent of is. Okay. So that is, we call it Adhyaharana, where the obvious is not stated and it's simple enough for everyone to know. Automatically Asti is applicable. We don't even think about it. So it's not that Kriya Pada is absent means a sentence is legal without a Kriya Pada. It just means it is hidden because it is so obvious. Okay, elided because it is so obvious. Okay, all right. So let us step into the lessons. Every lesson will have, oh, I did not do a prarthana. Kindly excuse me. Let me do a prarthana before entering the lesson. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Guruhu Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Om Tat Sat. Hari Om. सर्वेषां स्वागतम्. प्रत्येकस्मिन् पाठे यथा अस्मिन् प्रथमपाठे अपि बहवः भागाः उपभागाः इति वक्तुं शक्नुमः. उपभागाः सन्ति. प्रप्रथमम् अस्ति सूक्तिः इति. संकेतेन न सूचितमस्ति, परन्तु प्रत्येकस्मिन् प्रत्येकस्य पाठस्य उपरितनभागे तत्र सूक्तिः एका भवति. एवं 12 पाठपर्यन्तं सूक्तयः सन्ति. 12 सूक्तयः अस्माभिः सम्यक् ज्ञातव्याः. प्रथमसूक्तिः अस्ति एवं सतां हि सन्देहपदेषु वस्तुषु प्रमाणमन्तःकरणप्रवृत्तयः. सतां हि सन्देहपदेषु वस्तुषु प्रमाणमन्तःकरणप्रवृत्तयः. सतां हि संदेहपदेषु वस्तुषु प्रमाणम् अन्तःकरणप्रवृत्तयः. एक एव पदं तत्र. तो अत्र सतां हि संदेहपदेषु वस्तुषु पदचतुष्टयं तु पृथगेव अस्ति, परन्तु अत्र संयोगः अस्ति. न तु सन्धिः परन्तु संयोगः अस्ति. कथं? हलन्तमकारः प्रमाणम् इत्यस्य अन्ते हलन्तमकारः यदस्ति तस्य संयोगः अग्रिमपदस्य अकारेण साकं म इति स्थापितमस्ति. सन्धिः नास्ति. किमर्थं सन्धिः नास्ति? तत्र परिवर्तनम्, अक्षरपरिवर्तनं किमपि नास्ति. यत्र अक्षरपरिवर्तनम् अदृश्यता वा आदेशः वा आगमः वा दृश्यते, लोपः आदेशः आगमः, तो एते न सन्ति यथा, तदा केवल संयुक्ताक्षरं स्थापितमस्ति. तत्र मकारः एव अस्ति एव, अकारः अस्ति एव, कुत्रापि न गतं. तो तर्हि संयोगः इत्येव उच्यते, न तु सन्धिः. सन्धिकार्ये अपि संयोगः भवति, परन्तु परिवर्तनेन साकं भवति। अत्र अपरिवर्तितसंयोगः। प्रमाणम् अन्तःकरणप्रवृत्तयः। अत्रापि विसर्गस्य पदस्य मध्ये भावः, अर्धविसर्गः, तत् उपद्मानीयः इति किमपि उच्यते, तस्य नाम अन्तःकरण। अन्तःकरण, अन्तःकरण इति न, अन्तःकरण इत्येव वक्तव्यम्। अन्तःकरणप्रवृत्तयः बहुवचन पदं। तु अर्थं ज्ञास्यामः। तु एतत्तु वाक्यस्य विभक्तिरूपान् प्रथमं पश्यामः। सताम्, सत् शब्दस्य षष्ठी बहुवचनरूपम् अत्र पश्यतु। सत् शब्दरूपाणि सन्, सन्तौ, सन्तः, एवमेव सतः, सतोः, सताम् इति षष्ठी बहुवचने सताम् इति। So of the noble people, satam, षष्ठी बहुवचन. He, indeed, avyayam. Okay, 0.0 you can say. It doesn't have a table. It's just an avyaya, fixated. Indeed. It may not exactly always be having any significant meaning. Sometimes the kavis use this just to accent or fill the charana a little bit. Cha, he, eva, all those things come a little extra. But this can actually take a good meaning in this particular sukti. Sandeha padeshu. There are two pratipadikas there. That's where a hyphenation have shown. It's not a good practice recommended by Sanskrit grammarians, but at beginning level I find it useful, so I do this. Sandeha padeshu. Sandeha, doubt, pada, step. In doubtful steps. That means in the activity, in some activity when we have a doubtful step forward. Okay, that means we have some dubiousness in what we are undertaking, some doubt in what we are undertaking. This is Saptami Bahuvachana. Padeshu, Rameshu. Okay. Vastushu. So this is Visheshana Visheshya. So also in Saptami Bahuvachana, Vastushu. So in the objects where doubt arises, in such things, okay, in matters of ambiguity, such a nice English translation there. Pramanam. Okay. So this is the Uddeshya Videya Bhava Prathama, we call it. There are two Prathama thing. So here this is actually Uddeshya Prathama, Prathama Ekavachana. So the proof is the Antahkarana Pravritti. So the proof is also a Prathama, and Antahkarana Pravrittaya in Bahuvachana is also a Prathama, but this is the dominant Prathama for influencing the absent Kriyapada. Bhavanti. There is no Kriyapada there. Absent Adhyaharana Bhavanti. Bahuvachana to go with Pravrittayaha Bahuvachana. So this is called Uddeshya Videya Bhava in a sentence. They are not asking me to teach you all this, but we are all, as we are learning, it is nice to get a little peek into the larger grammar of this wonderful language, which has actually lent its grammar thoughts to all the Indo-European language family. Okay, so Uddeshya Videya Bhava. So the intent and the target association of two namapadas. Sometimes when we do this, there is no linga. This is not like Visheshana Visheshya. In Visheshana Visheshya, you will have a Vibhakti, Vachana, Linga, all those tracks. There is nothing like that. See here, Pramanam stays in its form. Pravrittayaha, even in Bahuvachana, it is there. Okay. So that's Uddeshya Videya Bhava. Antahkarana Pravrittayaha Bhavanti. So of the noblemen, indeed, can be taken from here. Of the noblemen, indeed, in matters of ambiguity. In the matters is Vastushu, ambiguity is Sandeha Padeshu. The evidence of truth, Pravanam. See, big translation there. Evidence of truth, Pramanam, is their inner voice. Okay. Of course, are there inner voices, you can say, to go literal, but there is no need, because in English, the general tendency is to go singular there. Is their inner voice. Okay. So we collectively, all the voices, we put as one single inner voice. Whereas in Sanskritam, Antahkarana Pravrittihi also can be used. Pravartayaha also can be used. Okay. It's language has a different style there in using Vachana. Allowance, larger allowance. Satam hi sandeha padeshu vastushu pramanam antahkarana pravrittayah bhavanti. So if you want to little bit more organize it in a Anvaya Rachana, there is some space, because normally we go. So Sandeha padeshu vastushu, amongst the matters of ambiguity. Satam pramanam, the proof of the noble people. Indeed are the antahkarana pravritti, the inner voice. Antahkarana means the inner eye, pravritti means the activity, thought processes, that is called pravritti there. So we use the term inner voice in English nicely for that, right? So we don't need to, should not do literal. We should not say inner eye activity. No meaning in English. Inner eye activity is meaningless. Somebody will laugh. So people may translate like that using dictionaries, but that is not useful. You should take a phrase, know the correct English phrase and go. So the tatparya has to come. Okay. All right. Any questions with this sukti? I have a superb attendance. I have never had 70 people attending even my first session. I'm extremely enthused. Brilliant. Let's hope you guys keep the dedication alive to continue to participate. My classes are a little taxing. I apologize for that. I don't believe in very, what you call superficial teaching. Even if I teach only one lesson, I want to do a 100% job of it. That's my approach. So what that actually means is you will actually have to also as much devote some time and mind space to let that get to you. Okay. I'm going to provide recording so that for those for other reasons time is a problem, they can follow it offline using the recording. But the attending a live session has its own animus, and you will be most attentive in a live session. In fact, if I say I'm not recording, you will be even more attentive, but I don't want to be cheating those who are, for example, some are other teachers, some are students in other classes, some are doctors. They have their own compulsions, so I want to respect them also. All right. Any questions?
नास्ति महोदय।
Astu,
No, Mahoday.
astu, astu. So let us do a recap of what we have learned. The high points of grammar we are going to recap. Okay. It's we have almost forgotten this word. In English, the recap is actually short form of recapitulation. Capitulation. Capitulation has taken on a different meaning little bit in Abhyasa, in the sense of falling asunder or something like that. We capitulate to the forces of evil. This kind of meaning it has taken on. But here it simply means to regather. Okay. So बालाबालौ पुनरावर्तनं कुरुतः अत्र चित्रे यदस्ति पुनरावर्तनम् इत्येव रिकेपिटुलेशन् इत्यस्य संस्कृतभाषायां तर्हि मङ्गलमस्तु अग्रे गमिष्यामः at परिचय level you have learnt about विशेष्य विशेषण भावः. So very much they have taught us with so much repetitive hammering, saying that यल्लिङ्गं यद्वचनं या च विभक्तिः विशेषस्य तल्लिङ्गं तद्वचनं सा च विभक्तिः विशेषणस्यापि. Whichever linga, whichever vachana, whichever vibhakti is of visheshya, the one that is being described, that linga, that vachana and that vibhakti is also for visheshana, that which describes the other. Okay. So that beautiful verse will remain etched in our head. Next, we also learnt about Kartani, Kartari, Karmani, and Bhave. Kartari we had kind of seen even earlier, obviously, but the highlight of what is Kartari becomes more obvious when Karmani starts getting used. Basically, when the dominant object in the sentence is a Karta, where the Kriya Pada is tracking the Karta, that is called Kartari. Karmani is when the Karma Pada, the object of the sentence, roughly, okay, is the one that is dominating, and the Kriya Pada so follows the Karma Pada rather than the Kriya Pada. We have seen the rules a little bit, and we also know Sanskritam has a very special Prayoga called Bhave Prayoga, where because the Karma Pada can be absent for some sentences. For example, somebody stands up. There is no Karma Pada. There is no book to stand or something. Like I read a book, book is an object. I stand up, finish. There is no object. I stand up, There can be location like at the home, in the office, in the field, but they are all going to other vibhaktis. They are not karmas. Okay. So that such a kriyapada, when it is not having a karma target like laughing, standing up, etc., then we call that bhave prayoga, because there is a kind of karmani prayoga allowed, passive voice allowed, but except there are some additional rules as to what the kriya pada does in the absence of karma pada, how it behaves. That's why we call it bhave prayoga. So let us recap here. In fact, you will see a little bit, probably all of them. First point, adjective and the noun qualified are always in the same gender, number and case. Okay, so that's what is this verse we read, one part of the verse. Okay, so actually all the whole thing, same gender, number and case, all three things. Same gender, linga, same number, vachana, same case, vibhakti. Okay, so uttamaha balakaha, uttama balika, uttamam pustakam. So pullinga, strilinga, napumsakalinga. Visheshya is balaka in the first part, balika in the second part, pustakam in the third part. Part I am saying because these are three different sentences actually. You can cluster them into one sentence by using some cha and saying something about all of them. Okay. Note that the gender is the same. Okay. So pullinga, pullinga, strilinga, strilinga, napumsaka, napumsaka. Uttame bale, uttamam balam, uttamasya pustakasya. Here they did little bit vachana switch for us. So uttama bala became, bala is not there in the first set, but anyway, here uttama bala became uttame bale, dvivachana. Uttamam balam, dvivachana, as well as actually this is supposed to be balaha bale, maybe. Maybe this is Saptami Ekavachana. Because they're talking of case ending, I should not take Bala, Bale. I can take Bala, Bale and still fit this, but I think let me take the Saptami Uttamaha Balaha going to Uttame Bale. In fact, if they had used Balake, then there would have been no confusion. Anyway, Uttame Bale, Saptami Ekavachana, Uttamam Balam, Dvitiya Ekavachana, Uttamasya Pustakasya, Shashti Ekavachana. Okay. So first two are in Strilinga, third one is in Napumsak. Actually, first one is in Pullinga. I am sorry. Just now I have corrected myself. So Uttamaha Bala has gone to Uttame Bale. So Pullinga, Strilinga, Napumsaka continues, but Saptami Ekavachana, Dvitiya Ekavachana, Shashti Ekavachana. That is the switch happening. In addition to the Linga, there is a Vibhakti switch. So the case ending is the same. So because they're tracking Saptami, Saptami, Dvitiya, Dvitiya, Shashti, Shashti. Vachana is also tracking, but so far only Ekavachana has been used, so they are not highlighting. Now they go there. Uttamena balakena, with a good boy. Uttamabhyam balakabhyam. Okay, of the um, uh, two good girl, balikabhyam, no, balakabhyam. So here's again pulling a balaka shabda only. Okay. So and then uttamaihi balakaihi. So eka dvi bahu of tritiya vibhakti. Balakena balakabhyam balakaihi. Similarly, we get uttamena uttamabhyam uttamaihi. Okay. Karana karaka. But number is changing. Vachana is changing. Eka dvi bahu. They have deliberately used Tritiya Vibhakti a little bit because it's time for us at Shiksha level to start moving away from Pratama Vibhakti. All of us become Pratama Vibhakti professors. So we should start moving away. We should not try to always default to Pratama Vibhakti to learn new words. Okay? Should try to play them in different Vibhaktis. It's time to upgrade ourselves. Okay. In Sanskrit, numerals are also adjectives. Okay. So numbers, when you are not directly referring to a number itself, then it's a standalone word. That's true. But it can come as a adjective to other, like 10 boys, 10 girls, etc. like that. So they are also adjectives. Therefore, the above rule applies to numerals also. Except you guys know, only first few numbers have this linga beda and vachana beda and all that. After that, anyway, they are all technically in bahuvachana. except there is technical singularity for them in grammar world. When you refer to the pada dasha, maybe it's a singular pada dasha, something like that, or sets of 10, there may be some kind of singularity, plurality. But for simple usage, the first few numbers have linga vachana bheda. Linga vachana bheda because first number is in ekavachana, second number is in dvivachana, and third onwards is in bahuvachana, etc. And you can have it as a visheshana to a pullinga word or a strilinga word, napunsaka word. So visheshanas also show the linga bheda. But after that, they are said to be in all three lingas. They are not like they don't have linga. The same form appears in all three lingas. Okay. If possible, avoid chat. Okay. Somebody has seriously not properly audible. See, whenever you have a trouble and you are not seeing others scream, that means you are having the problem, not everyone. So what you should do at that time is log out and log back in. Okay? All right. So ekah purushah, eka mahila, ekam pustakam. So ekah, eka, ekam. Okay, just like uttamaha, uttama, uttamam, ekah also took on the tonality of a visheshana. Ekasmai purushaya, ekam mahilam, ekasmin pustake, different case endings. So for the sake of one man, or object, one single lady as the object, ekam mahilam. So aham ekam mahilam uddishya kimapi uktavan, like that. Ekasmin pustake, in one book, Saptami Ekavachana association. Okay, so Ekapada has taken on Linga Vedas and Vibhakti Vedas. Then ekena purushena dvabhyam purushabhyam tribihi purushaihi. See how number change. Ekena ekavachana, dvabhyam dvivachana, tribihi bahuvachana. So purushena purushabhyam purushaihi. Because the number is changing, the pratipadika also changes from eka to dva, dve to trini. But this is in pullinga now. Ekena dvabhyam tribihi. Generally, one mistake we made is we do traihi purushaihi like that. No, tribihi. It'll take some time to fall into that. Pratamaha dvitiya. Now we come to so-called purna pratyayantas. This is ordinal according to order. These are called cardinals. Ekaha, eka, ekam, ekasma. All these are cardinals because the number itself it is. But here it is rank. So rank is order. So order is ordinal. The other thing is cardinal. Pratamaha, dvitiyaha, etc. Dashamaha, vimshatitamaha, etc. You know, some places we just use maha. Then after some number we start using tama prayoga. So if you go back to your, I hope you are carefully maintaining your Parichaya Pravesha books. Time to time it will be nice to revise. Or ordinals that end in Purna Pratyaya. They are called Purna Pratyayantaha Bahuvachana. The particles, okay, particles are pieces of the word. Nipata, drop in, Sanskrita term for something that is dropped in. Chit and chana are added to kim shabda in the sense of someone, some uncertain, not a certain, uncertain should be there. Anishchitartha, anishchayartha, anishchitartha, anishchitartha. So when we are not sure and we have to say, ayo, someone came da, like that. That is when we say, kaschana balakaha agataha, aham na janami kaha iti. Like that, use. Okay. Kaha balakaha, saha agataha, kaha saha, aham na janami kaschana syat. So like that. Kenachit esha varta shravita. By somebody, this news was told or made to be heard by me. Okay, so that kind of chitchana prayoga we have seen a lot in the previous lesson. So good to revise that. Ling lakaraha. So vidiling lakara pradhana is used to denote possibility or sambhavanarthaha. Injunction vidhyartaha. Vidhi means injunction or direction or mandation or something like that. Where sambhavana is a possibility of something happening. Okay. So we learned those things also. In fact, we learned lot lakara also, I believe, which is another vidyartha. Agraha. Adya sayam mahati vrishtihi bhavet. Sambhavanartha. Okay. So today evening, I am praying for Bengaluru that this is true. Adya sayam mahati vrishtihi bhavet. Maybe it is God's indication, this sentence. Let's see. Bhavan dharmam palayet. May you follow dharma. Okay, here, if it is said by an elder to some youngster, it is an injunction. It is not a wish. The elder is asking you to follow dharma. Okay. You have learned the passive verbal forms in present and past tense, imperative and potential moods. The passive verbal forms, basically karmani verbal forms. Okay. We even learnt some Kridanta versions of this, right? Some places the Samskrita Bharati taught us, rather than trying to use the Tingantas, some things are nicely put in place using Kridanta forms. So we have learned that also. For example, Ramena Pataha Pathyate. This is Tinganta form, present tense with the Karmani Prayoga. Ramaha Patam Pathati switches to Ramena Pataha Patyate. Kartari to Karmani translation. But they are both in latlakara. Pat dhatu, pathati is in latlakara kartari form. Pathyate is pat dhatu in latlakara karmani form. So what are the changes happening? Atmanepadi ending is forced. Yakara comes into the equation with the dhatu. Pathyate. Pathati goes to patyate. So like vandate, ate ending. Okay? We know that. So that is a present tense karmani. Ramena pataha apathyata. So here what has happened? Ramaha patam apathat. Langlakara, past tense langlakara, apathat has been switched to apatyata, just like avandyata is there. Avandata, something like that is there. So the same way, this Atmanepadi form of langlakara, which is the Bhutakala form, is used here, apatyata. But Ramayana Pataha remains because there is no Kala Prayoga there, there is no change there. Here, the Kriya Pada only suits the Kala, so it switched. Or you can go with the easy Ktanta ending. Patitaha, Pataha, Patitaha. So this Ktanta is a Karmani kind of Visheshana to the Karma Pada. You can think of it that way. Patitaha. So Pataha, Patitaha. Pustakam, Patitam. Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Patita. Like that we go Linga Beda. Apatyata doesn't have any Linga association. For example, Pataha Apatyata, Pustakam Apatyata, Bhagavad Gita Apatyata. So a Tinganta does not sensitize itself to the Linga. It only worries about the Vachana of the Pada that it is tracking. Here the Karma Pada it is tracking. Okay. Okay. Anytime questions, you don't have to wait for me to announce, or do you have a question? At the same time, don't overdo the unmuting. When you have a significant question, please don't hesitate also to unmute. Okay? All right. Ramena pataha pathyatam. Imperative mood. Okay? Pathyatam. Gamyatam. So this is almost like a third person imperative, right? So it's like, king is sitting telling, sorry, okay, not the king, the father, who is kind of a king in the household, one hopes. So the father is telling the mother, hey, may the lesson be read by Rama. I will keep reading the newspaper meanwhile, like that. Sorry about that. Ramena pataha pataniyaha. So by Rama, the lesson should be read. So this is called that potential mode, some kind imperative mode, potential mode. We never learned the English grammar itself properly. We just know it as a good language to use and how to use, we know. Sometimes we don't know to identify the grammar aspect, but yeah, the scope called potential mode. By Rama, the lesson should be read, like that sense. Okay? And the difference between should be read and should read is that Patyata. Rama should read the lesson. That is almost the imperative nature, though it is in Karmani. Okay? Anyway, Patitavyaha should be read. So, Aniyar and Tavyat Kridanta, both are actually same sense, meaning sense is there, and they both actually track the Linga. Pataniya, will come for Bhagavad Gita. Pataniyam will come for Pustakam. Same way. Tavya, Tavyam will come for correct the other lingas. So, okay, same sentence everywhere with different tonalities and tenses. Okay? They don't mean the same thing everywhere. There is meaning variation, but you can see how they have tried to stick to the same core sentence form and show the differences. This kind of exercise is very good. Okay, so far any questions with this page? Okay. No need to make any notes. I'll be sharing the video so you will have reference. And I will not be giving any PDF or anything of this because this is actually material from the book. I am already doing an illegal thing by displaying directly from the book, but I don't have that much energy to retype everything. So I have taken the shortcut. But that doesn't mean I will be distributing anything. Okay. Okay, the last bullet point. Oh, okay. I didn't talk about the. It's a good time to describe. So I am needing 3 sessions per week to cover the syllabus. So each lesson will take about 3.5 on the average, 3.5 to 4 sessions. So typically it will need 2 1.5 hour sessions and 1 hour sessions plus another half an hour from the next session. Something like that it will take to complete one lesson. It's a lot of thing to teach. And that is why I'm having Sunday 2 sessions and Saturday 1 session. The Sunday morning 11 a.m. session and the Saturday morning, next Saturday, we will start the Saturday series. All of them are actually the same thread. There is no, this is Sunday batch, this is Sunday afternoon batch. No, no. All of you guys are in the same batch. Okay. Number 2, the afternoon session at 3, I know you guys will be already tired. So I am not stretching it to 1.5 hours. I will try to keep it 1 hour. Typically, when I say 1.5 hours, it tends to end up being 1 hour 45 minutes, and 1 hour tends to be 1 hour 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, bear with me on that because I need to come to some formal closure and then close the lesson. I can't drop it in the middle of a sheet. So that is the thing. So I'm stealing a little bit more than I am actually mentioning.
Sir, I have a question. May I ask now?
Yes.
My name is Vikram, and
Yes.
I have already started the preparation, and I finished the portion that is related to the Bhagavad Gita. So, which is the time of these classes that I may omit my attendance?
Who knows, sir? You're as good in predicting them as I am.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
You may find something that I'm teaching which is a little bit beyond what you understood. So
Sure.
you may appreciate a second learning, Varya.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So good question, very timely question by him. So are there like very accurate book page number this to this in this slot? No, not possible. See, already, you can see how it's a little bit meandering here and there. Especially the first lesson will take more sessions because you are also getting familiar with my style. And then, so I don't want to rush you saying, I will teach so much in 1 week and all that. And no, the learning is the important part. The exam is not my goal. The learning is. Okay. So, okay. So you have also learned the verbal forms in impersonal voice. Somebody else has a question? No. So you have also learned the verbal forms in impersonal voice. So instead of using the so-called passive voice term in English, they have come up with this impersonal voice kind of tracking back from Sanskritam word, the bhave prayoga, they have tried to call it impersonal voice. Okay. All right. It's actually passive voice without a object. In Vartamana, Bhuta and Bhavishyat and also Agnyartha and Vidyartha. So we are talking of Lat, Lang, Lut, Lot and Vidiling. These kind of variations we have kind of learnt. Anybody who is getting confused by all this Lat, Pit and all that I'm using? You should not, but if you are, then I can introduce some additional slides to explain all that in the next class. Okay, good. Good. Yes,
I have a
Kesari.
question, sir. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Sir, I wanted to ask you because these various tenses, right?
Hmm.
Lat lakara, ling lakara, whatever. I mean, there are
Hmm.
so many of these, and Sanskrit
Hmm.
has 11 or something you said.
Yes.
And the previous two exams also, I didn't really worry about what is what, as long as I am learning the, tense.
Yes.
Because if you ask me which is lot lakara, I won't be able to respond. But
It will take time.
compa-
It will take
yeah,
time. No problem. Actually, you are going about it the right way, Varya. As long
yeah,
as your brain is sorting out this is in past tense, this is in present tense,
yes,
and you are not able to say is this lung or lit or something, that is okay. Okay.
okay, yeah, thanks.
We are not trying to make you guys any grammarians as such. Okay.
Yeah,
But
okay,
after several years, you should not say this sentence again. That's all.
okay, okay.
Yeah, Advik, ask your question, Advik. Unmute yourself and ask your question. You have your hand up, but you're not asking any question. So I'll assume that that was by error that you put your hand up. Okay. All right. So let us see this Bhave Prayoga. Vrikshena kampyate. Kamp dhatu, akarmaka. Okay. It is shaken by the tree. You see, English is poverty. You have to say it. What it? Nothing it. Okay. It is shaken by the tree. Basically, we don't use Bhave Prayoga as such in English because it is not constructed well for that. So we end up saying the tree shakes in active voice, which is okay. You don't need to bring any object there. Okay. So what that it in the passive voice you are forced to use is actually the tree itself. Okay. The tree is shaken by the tree itself, like that. Okay. Shailaja Varya, is there a question? Okay, no. All right. So parnaihi apatyata patitam. By the leaves, it is fallen. Basically, now you see the problem. So parnaihi is the bahuvachana, but this is in Vibhakti, so there is a karmani sense. So apatyata and patitam have taken on a ekavachana form. Okay, to uh, honor the unknown nature of the karma pada. They take prathama purusha ekavachana form. So patitam apatyata. Okay, and also napumsaka in case of kridanta where linga comes into picture, it takes on napumsakatva also. Patitam. You cannot say parnaihi patitaha. No, parnaihi patitam. You cannot say parnaihi patita. You cannot say parnaihi patitaha. You're only allowed to say parnaihi patitam, or you can say parnena patitam. So singularity, plurality of the karta has no sense for the bhave karma. ठीक है, भावे कर्मा sticks to its ekavachanatva to point to an absent supposedly prathama purusha ekavachana karma pada. ठीक है, imaginary. ठीक है, equivalent of that it. Tvaya yatyatam. By you may it be tried, like that. Okay. So hey, put in some effort. That's what we're saying. Tvaya yatyatam. May the effort be put by you, like that. Okay. Here what happens in English, effort be put. So effort became the karma of put. It is, see, what is akarmaka in Sanskritam, some grammar in grammar of Sanskritam, the same similar kriya pada in Kannada or Hindi may not be akarmaka. Okay. So lot of tracking is there. At least Indian languages kriya padas that track corresponding Sanskrit language kriya padas in almost a good 90% overlap sense also follow this karma, akarmaka, sakarmaka's nature of that kriya, but many don't. Okay, so many don't. For example, creed dhatu, very annoyingly for us Kannadigas especially, annoyingly it is akarmaka. So you cannot say balakaha chandukam kridati. No, you cannot, because Chandukam is not allowed for Creed Dhatu. So we have to say Chandukena Kridati. With the ball he plays. Okay. So you cannot say Cricket Kridam Kridati. You have to look for another Dhatu which allows a Karma Pada and go. Khelati maybe allows that. So this kind of challenges are there. Okay, so the sakarmakatva, akarmakatva, you have to learn within the Sanskrit Vangmaya, not get tainted by your equivalent knowledge of a similar kriya in other language. Bhavata upaveshtavyam, by you it should be sat. I mean, you should sit. Potential view. Okay. Kridantaha Shatru Prathama. So here now we launch off with the first lesson. Another thing that I do in my long sessions is in my 1.5+ hour classes, usually at middle of the day, that's 12 noon, around 12 noon, I give a 3, 4, 5 minute break for your water breaks. Okay, so you can do your getting up and walking away and getting your water needs met at that time. Okay, usually I mute myself, and generally students stay muted through that process, and I pause the recording so that all that is not entering the video. But it's not a time for that, so we'll start jumping into this Kridanta learning. What is this Kridanta business? What Tinganta, Subanta, Kridanta? Little bit I will step. Subanta is sup pratyayanta. Sup is a pratyaya, a affix. Okay, so sup pratyayas are used with namapadas. So Rama namapada, Ramaha is a sup pratyaya yukta prathama vibhakti ekavachananta rupa, Ramaha. So there is a sup pratyaya there. Whereas gam dhatu, gacchati. So the ati is the ting pratyaya attached there. Now, so we know kriya padas use ting pratyaya, namapadas use sup pratyayas. Avyayas have a fixated sup. Sometimes the sup is elided, we say. So avyayas are also namapadas. They are also subantas, except the sup sometimes is fixated, sometimes it's elided. Okay? That's the generic grammar of the two types of words. Amazing. Such a big, powerful, beautiful language of ours only has two types of words, nouns and verbs. Beautiful. There are, of course, then further characteristics of variations of nouns and all that. What are Kridantas then? Where do they come in? This Krit, there are 140, I believe. Anyway, more than 100, 110 plus, let us say. 110 plus Kridantas are there for various purposes. They are called Krit Anta. Krit is a generic title for a whole lot of 110 plus different pratyayas. Okay, some of them are purposed for some particular transformation. What do they transform? They take a dhatu and transform it. So a dhatu, the 2000 odd dhatus form the core fixed list of elements in Sanskritam. Those of you who are from the software world, you guys know very well, for example, an operating system like Linux or a computer program. They all stand on some 200 basic, very primitive instructions that the computer's central processing unit knows to execute honestly. Add A to B, put it in location X, subtract, multiply, move from here to there, access this data from memory, store that data in memory. Very silly. As a standalone thing, they do nothing very fantastic. They think fabulous. But there are some critical additional things like, jump off from here to there, count this down and keep doing until that is reaching 0. These kind of powerful instructions are also there, which are called control instructions. So when you combine those control instructions with these compute instructions, which are just all of them all told maybe hundreds only, nothing massive. Okay, you can learn in 3-4 days if you sit tight with the book, all the instructions. You can do such wonderful things as run your computers, have Zoom session and do the Sanskrit teaching with it graphically. How? Because everything is built on top of those bricks. So the bricks in Sanskritam are these dhatus and the pratyaya world around it. Okay, and a few drop in nama padas. Okay, everything else is rules which string these dhatus with these pratyayas at a higher and higher and so on and so forth to derive meaning. So The same thing is used in computer also. Those 200 very primitive instructions are churned together in multiple combinations to give you the operating system, the program, etc., and build a big castle out of it. Okay, same principle is there in Sanskritam. So Sanskritam is not a dictionary friendly language, and actually that's its positiveness. You cannot completely code Sanskritam as a pure word dictionary. So you need to code it as what are the basic instructions, what is the rules of combining them, etc. So that's where the Paninian school of grammar has created Dhatu Pata for teaching the basic primitives, the Pratyaya Pathas for learning the Pratyaya list, and then the Ashtadhyayi having 4,000 odd rules, sutras, rules, which will like a sequential program or even semi-parallel sequential program. In fact, there is wonderful example of object-oriented programming, concurrent processing, okay, and sequential processing, all that combined in Ashtadhyayi. Thousands of years ago, our grammarians, we identify, of course, one Panini as the lead there, but we let us, Panini himself quotes many grammarians in his Ashtadhyayi text. So it's a whole lineage of wonderful software engineers who created the complete codification of this language. Because they codified it, today actually using the same software code, you can generate newer words for new things that emerge. Something that jumps on two legs and flies. So you can actually Dvipada, Uttishta, some Antariksha, Gami, something you can coin together for naming it. So what I said was a little meaningless. Don't think I'm making some sense, but you guys got the sense of it. So that power is with this kind of pratyayas. So Kridanta pratyayas allow a lot of modifications of dhatu. So you can bring a dhatu into a namapada domain and then get a specific meaning and then further add subpratyaya and start using it in sentences. So for example, the word Ramaha itself for us, which is those of us who are Hindus here, so it's such a basic word that itself is actually coming from ram dhatu, ghai pratyaya and sup pratyaya added to make Ramaha, something like that. Okay, so that ghai pratyaya where is one of the Kridanta pratyayas. Okay, like that. Okay, so the Kridanta pratyaya specific one we are going to learn today is Shatru. Prathama, what is Prathama and Pum doing there? Pullinga version we are going to learn. We are going to learn Prathama Vibhakti Prayogas of that. Now, moment you add Shatru Pratyaya, it becomes Namapada. So we move away from Purusha to Vibhakti. So Prathama Vibhakti, Ekavachana, Bahuvachana, all those we are going to learn here today. Okay? So I hope now that makes sense. It looks so technically weird, but that's what it is. Okay, you are familiar with the verbal forms such as gachati, gach, gachati. I mean, they didn't make gum becoming gach, all those. They just showed a gach, but the dhatu is gaml, gaml, and the gaml, gaml, the is actually technical ending. Gum is the pure dhatu, etc., is there. Okay, abhavat, abhavat, pathantu, pathantu. In the examples above, the bracketed portion is known as akhyata pratyaya or thing pratyaya. Okay, there is another name for thing. I had also forgotten. So thing pratyaya is what I know. Okay, of course, it's not very Puritan breakup. Okay, but it's roughly okay to accept at this level. Just like the thing pratyaya, another set of affixes known as krit pratyaya is also added to verb roots. That's what I just told. They are also explaining nicely. The words thus formed are known as participle in English or kridanta in Sanskritam. So Sanskritam is very basic. I mean, krit ante yasti yasya kridantaha. Finish. They are not verbs, although they sometimes do the function of a verb. See, the verb being there is not its action is not lost, but they are no more active verbs once they become Kridanta. They actually continue to carry the power of the Kriya, especially some type of Kridantas, which they have clausal verb priority in the sentence. So a sentence, Ekating Vakyam I had mentioned, but that doesn't mean there are no other actions in the sentence. So a sentence can have concurrent multiple actions. A sentence can have first action complete followed by second action. This kind of complete causal arrangements can be there, in which case each clause will have a Kridanta followed by the terminal Tinganta. Tinganta is the master of the sentence. The clauses, the sub-clauses use Kridantas as their terminal verbal noun. Okay, I'm using new terminologies now. Anytime you don't understand me, stop and break, because these principles are good to internalize well at this level. Okay. Okay. They are not verbs, although they sometimes do the function of a verb. They are mostly noun forms or adjectival forms. I don't know why they use mostly here. This one is a little bit Pandit level. Always, I thought. Always, I thought. Okay. All right. As technically nouns, but because of their activity embedded nature, maybe that's why they have brought in the word mostly noun. Mostly noun forms and adjectival forms. I told you, adjective of noun, right? Tracks another noun, that's all. However, not all Kridantas are noun forms. See, this is where the weakness comes out. Okay, because they are teaching at the primary level, they are not going with Paninian definition. Okay, now I understood why they use mostly. However, not all Kridantas are noun forms. Some of them, like those ending in Ktva, Tumun, etc., are indeclinables. This is a okay, acceptable sentence at a preliminary level. A grammarian will turn away from this, saying no, an indeclinable is also a noun form. That's what they say. So, theek hai. Okay, so that mostly comes from the distinction of noun from indeclinable at this level. But believe me, Paninian world, they are not distinguished. Nagaraju Varya?
So I may have studied before, but what is meant by indeclinable?
Avyaya.
Avyaya, avyaya.
Avyaya.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question is good, Varya. We all, we are all getting on in age. So if I remember, I will tell you.
Avyaya means basically they don't change form, right? If I remember.
Yes. Vyayah nasti iti avyayah.
Okay.
Huh? So, yeah. Vyaya means expenditure, means change, transformation. Okay. Ktavatu, kta, etc. are used instead of a verb. So this one, see, there's a ktavatu and kta have more verbal power than some other types like that. Maybe ktavatu, kta are basically kartari bhuta kridanta and karmani bhuta kridanta. We studied them a lot in previous level, right? So that's one. So gatavan, ktavatu, gataha, kta. Both are pulling I quoted, but it can be gatavati, gata, gatavat, gatam in three other two lingas. But they are not tinganta. Okay. Forms. They are noun forms only. Again, highlighted. In fact, even ktva and tumun are noun forms only. I can extend it. So I can remove the mostly also. ठीक है. There are many krit affixes used to denote various senses. So what are these 100 odd krit affixes doing? Why not only one? No, because we need to take it to different sense of that. Okay. So various sense. Okay. Not the sense in the sense of varying meaning derivation, that kind, not Indriya sense. Okay. In Parichaya course, under the heading Padasangraha, you have got familiar with some of the Kridanta forms. See, they had 13 odd beautiful things we used to learn. Almost every lesson had a set of Kridanta, some 5, 6 dhatus that we learnt in not only some Tinganta forms, some popular Kridanta forms, we studied them. So that's what, and then in the end, there was a whole chapter on that. In the lessons of Shiksha course, you will learn in detail about present participle forms. So this time we are focusing on Vartamana Kridantaha. Now I have my bugbear with this phrasing Vartamana Kridanta. I call it as Tatkalina Kridanta, not Vartamana Kridanta, because Vartamana gives the sense of present tense. They are not present participle forms in true nature. They are concurrent participle forms. Samakalina Kridanta, Tatkalina Kridanta is how I would look at it. Okay? ठीक है. We will take Vartamana for now. Okay. Read the following sentences. Chatraha pathan nidram kritavan. See what is present here? Kritavan is past. So the action is complete. Nidram kritavan. Remove patan. Chatraha nidram kritavan. The student, not in this class, guys. In this class, 74 of you are very alert. The student, he slept. Past tense. How he slept? Pathan nidram kritavan. As he was reading, he slept off. Student fell asleep reading while reading. That's it. So that patan is what is present about that. It is present at the time of the past. So I would call it concurrent with the nidra that he did. Okay. Balaha kridan muditavan. Playing, he became happy, but felt happy playing. Okay. Mod is happiness nature. So saha naman prarthayati. See here two kridantas. Okay. Tavatu kridantas. Okay. So now another question, many times I have taught it in Parichaya Pravesha level as much as but some of you are not my earlier students. So what is the Tiganta in this sentence? So Chatraha patan nidram kritavan asti or asit. Something like that you can take. So you can always imagine a Tiganta there. Balah kridan muditavan asti arasit. So the boy, as he was playing, he became pleased fellow. Saha naman prarthayati. He, as he is doing namana, he prays. Okay. Here it's actually in Vartamana sense because of prarthayati. Okay. Nagaraj over here.
Sir, again here, if we add while reading, while playing, while praying,
Hmm.
then it becomes a little more easy to understand.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's up to you. How do you do it in English? Yeah.
Yeah.
Saha naman prarthayati. Ashokah gachan dhenum drishtavan. Srinivasan Varya, you have a question?
Yeah. See, we are not using these asti, santi in these end of the sentences.
Hmm.
It would be a good practice for us to use it so that they get a better understanding.
That's why I'm now and then alerting you to it. That's all.
But
But
whether
no
we
need
can,
in real world, we don't use them.
we don't
Okay?
use it. No,
Yeah,
for
it is like overload. Sahanaman prarthayati. That doesn't need because already having thing. You cannot add asti there, it will be illegal. But balah kridan muditavan asit. You can say asit or asti. How you want to, whether you want to close out with an asit or say he's still sleeping, then he's still happy, then you can say asti. Huh? Yeah. Ashokah gachan dhenum drishtavan. Ashoka, as he was going, he saw a cow. Bhaktah devam pashyan pradakshinam kritavan. So, seeing the god, that means the murti of the god, he did the circumambulation. Oh, clockwise circumambulation is the translation for pradakshina. Kritavan. Yeshah suram piban lokameva vismritavan. Ayo, when Bhakta was doing that, this fellow is doing this. Yeshah suram piban, drinking alcohol, lokameva vismritavan. The world itself he forgot. Yah dhavan agatavan sah gopalah. The fellow, yah saha prayoga. The one, that fellow. Whoever came running, that fellow is Gopala. Vatuhu shlokam smaran ucharitavan. Actually, here we usually use smaran. We use duplication. Vatuhu, the young boy. Shlokam smaran. The shloka remembering and remembering. That's the only way we can translate. Butler English. By the way, you guys will hear a lot of Butler English from me. I am not a favor. I'm not in love with Queen's English. That is for you guys can go from Butler to Queen. Okay. Butler English because it Butler English subservient to our grammar. Our grammar is Sanskrit grammar. So Vatuhu Shlokam Smaran Ucharitavan. Okay, he pronounced it. Maran is enough one, but double duplication gives that. You know, you say in Hindi also like that. सोचते वो बता दिया, like that. सोचते बता दिया से कुछ power नहीं आता है language में. Okay. Rajakah vastram kshalayant tishtati. So the washerman washing the cloth, he stands. In fact, vastram kshalayati would have been enough, but little bit emphasis. Lekakah likhan eva ganam shrunoti. Oh, yo, this author, I don't know what he will end up writing. Okay. He listens to the music even as he is writing. So likhan eva, as he is writing, he listens to the music. Like some of us studied for our exams, listening to Radio Ceylon and produced very little marks in the exam. Shishuhu skhalan patitavan. Skhalana means to slip. Okay. Shishuhu skhalan patitavan. The young baby boy, masculine, but it can be any gender at that level. Slipping, it fell. Okay, we use it. Even in Kannada, we use napumsakatva, ekavachana for young boys or girls. It doesn't matter. We don't distinguish linga, but here it's in pullinga. Shishuhu patitavan. Okay. Gayakau gayantau netre nimilitavantau. So here this shishuhu pada is pullinga, guys. Okay. The shishu itself may even be a stri shishu. Okay. Balika. Gayakau gayantau netre nimilitavantau. So the two singers, as they were singing, this also in Dvivachana to track the Dvivachana of the Karta. Netre nimilitavantau. The two eyes they closed. Nimilana. Unmilana open. Nimilana close up the eye wrap around the eye. So Dvivachana of Dimilitavantau is for Gayakau because this is in Kartari Prayoga. Gayakau Nimilitavantau Netre Netram Netre Napumsaka Dvivachana Karma. Anywhere you get doubt about all that I am describing, every time I say a sentence, I want to highlight karta, karma, kriya, saptami, shashti, this kind of nice thing so that we start seeing the sentence in more than just a flat single way that they represented in the book. Okay? Everything that is bold we are seeing is all Shatranta. Okay? Now so far we start Patan up to Skhalan, we saw Ekavachana pulling of forms. See? Pulling of form, Prathama Ekavachana of Visa. Here we are seeing Dvivachana forms. Gayakau, Gayantau, Yatrikau, Pruchantau, and then Bahuchana form. Kapayaha, Kadantaha, Bahuchana. So, Antau, Antaha is the type of Pullinga ending in Prathama Vibhakti. Okay? Gayakau, Gayantau, Netre, Nimilitavantau. Yatrikau, Margam Pruchantau, Tirthayatram Kritavantau. The two travelers asking for the way, they did the Tirtha Yatra, the visit of the holy places, traverse of the holy sites. Kapayah Kadantaha eva Utpatitavantaha. Utpatana. Patana means to fall. Utpatana means to jump up and come down. Okay. See, the word itself has all the engineered parts to describe the whole act. Okay. Up and down. So, Kapayaha Kadantaha eva Utpatitavantaha. The monkeys, even as they were eating, they jumped around. They actually Utpatitavan past tense. So, they jumped around and finished it. They are not jumping right now. Okay. Bhitim anubhavan balaha davati. Chitrane yadasti. Samskrita vakyan drishtva bhitim anubhavan balaha davati. Okay, so we will take a break now, 12:09. So take a 4-5 minute break. So 12:14 we will start again. Okay, please. Okay. Welcome back. I hope you had your water break. So we'll continue learning the Shatru Pullinga Prathama Vibhakti forms. Okay. Seema Kaushik Varye, you have a question?
महोदय नमस्कार।
हाँ.
मम एकः प्रश्नः अस्ति।
पृच्छतु.
पूर्वस्मिन् पृष्ठे वयं पठितवन्तः भीतः बालकः भीतिम् अनुभवन्
Hmm.
बालकः धावति,
Hmm.
समथिंग लाइक दैट।
Hmm.
अन्येषु वाक्येषु प्रयोगः भिन्नः अस्ति।
न तथा बालः भीतिम् अनुभवन् धावति, आर्डर् एव पृथक् अस्ति।
आर्डर् एव पृथक् अस्ति।
अपि च अत्र पश्यतु, रजकः वस्त्रं क्षालयन् तिष्ठति, समानरीत्या बालः भीतिम् अनुभवन् धावति इति अस्ति। तत्र शत्रन्तस्य कर्मपदमस्ति वस्त्रम् इति, क्षालनक्रियायाः कर्मपदमस्ति वस्त्रम् इति, स्मरणविषयस्य कर्मपदमस्ति श्लोकः, श्लोकम् इति। तो एवमेव अत्र पुरा सुरां पिबन्, सो पादातोः सुरा इति कर्मपद, एवं देवं पश्यन्। तो बहुत्र कर्मपदं नास्ति। छात्रः पठन्, किं पठन् इति न सूचितं, पुस्तकं पठन् इति किमपि स्यात्। अत्र किं कृतं मया, भीतिम् अनुभवन् इति प्रप्रथमस्थाने स्थापयित्वा तदनन्तरं कर्तायाः सूचना अत्र दत्त्वा तत्र कर्तुं शक्नुमः। संस्कृते एवमेव अस्ति, कर्ता प्रथमं स्थापितव्यं, तदनन्तरं कृदन्तरूपाणां तेषां कर्मपद अनुकरणम् एवं कथमपि भवेत्।
अर्थभेदः न भवति।
अर्थभेदः न भवति, कदाचित् भवति। You cannot move Visheshanas too far from the Visheshya, because then you will get confused. For example, especially if there are two Visheshanas in the same nature, you will get confused. And also, so Kavis in shlokas, they are given more freedom, because for prasa and vritta, etc., they have to do few more plays. But in normal gadya, like these kind of sentences, you should not do too much of twisting. Okay.
धन्यवाद. Thank you.
No problem. Durjanaha nindantah eva triptavantah. Durjanaha karta bahuvachana, the wicked men. Though they didn't mention that in English. Sanskritam is very clear, it is masculine. Durjanaha nindantah eva, even as they were abusing. Word is the correct translation for nindana is abuse. Abusing only, they became triptas. That means they became content. There are people who derive this vicarious happiness from this kind of, right? We know that world is full of such people also. So that's what they're describing. Sarve milantah sambhashanam arabdavantah. Everyone. Okay. So bahuvachana, sarve. Milantah, as they met, as they were meeting, sambhashanam arabdavantah. They started talking between themselves. They began conversing. Converse is a good translation for sambhashana. As everyone gathered, see, sarve milantah. So, in fact, you see, Mahodaya earlier, one Mahodaya mentioned while can be imagined. See, in English, sometimes while fits, but here as fits better in English, right? So there are different little bit vector variation of this Shatranta happening based on the context. It's not explicit, but it's on context. So while all gathered, they began conversing. Here's a little bit poorly compared to as all gathered. Even as is even more powerful there. Even as everyone gathered, they all conversed. Nripaha nyayam anusarantah prajaha rakshitavantah. Prajaha is a karma pada in Dvitiya Bahuvachana here. Don't think it is a karta. So nripaha, karta Bahuvachana. Nripaha, nripaha Bahuvachana, Pullinga. Nyayam anusarantah. Following the tenet of righteousness. I don't know how to translate nyaya. Okay, tenets of righteousness.
Justice.
Right? Justice. Thank you. Justice in true justice. Okay, let's qualify it further today. True justice. Prajaha rakshitavantaha. They protected the people. Karma. Prajaha. Karma pada. Dvitiya Bahuvachana. Bharavaha petikam vahantah eva paniyam pitavantah. Poor fellows. Bharavaha, the porters. Okay, petikam vahantah, even as they were carrying the suitcases. Paniyam pitavantah, they drank water. Okay, see, paniyam, collective plurality is there, no need to take it to plurality. Paniyam, water, they drank. Okay, of course, each one had their own cup of water, etc. But we still call it paniyam as a whole. Okay, and each one had their own petika, but we just collectively using the single karma pada petikam. Okay. English you may go suitcases or something like that. Okay. Arakshakaha sarvan parishilayantah agre gatavantah. All bahuvachana forms here. See, those who are supposed to protect us. Inspecting everyone, agre gatavantah. They moved ahead. Syute dhanam katam stapitavyam iti chintayantah agre gatavantah. If you didn't understand that, leave it. Margadarshakaha itihasam varnayantah devalayam darshayanti. The Margadarshakas are the ones who guides. Okay. Margadarshakas itihasam varnayantah, even as they described the history, while describing the history, they show the Devalaya. They show us the abode of God or gods. In the above sentences, the words Pathan, Kridan, etc. printed in bold type are ending in Shatru Pratyaya. They are all known as Shatrantaha, Shatrantas. The rules connected with Shatru Pratyaya. At, see, you keep seeing this Shatru business, but where is this Shatru appearing anywhere? No. Just At form appears in the end. Okay? So this At is also actually the native form. After that, when you attach the Sup Pratyaya, following the At addition, it takes that An type of Gachan, Gam, At, and then Tip is added to that. That's what they show here. Little bit. Okay? Not completely, but they show it. The rules Shatru Pratyaya denotes the present or current, like I told, continuous tense. It means that the Kriya has begun and not ended still. No. Kriya began and had not ended still, even as the time of the other Pradhana Kriya was in force. That's how we should read that thing. Only At remains of the Pratyaya Shatru. So the Sh and the R, they are technical letters added to At. Sh, At plus R. So these two are technical letters. They are called It Aksharas by Panini. Okay, It Aksharas. Okay. So he has got one sutra. Itaha lopaha, something like that. Itam lopaha syat iti something. So that It aksharas are there to help us, first of all, pronounce it in a peculiar way, different from others. Because other Kridantas may also have At in the end, Pratyayas, but they may be in a different meaning sense. So they may be some other At, Kart, Kat, something they may be. But this is Shatru. Okay? Shatru type of At Pratyaya. So one is to distinguish it from others. Another is sometimes the Shakara, etc. direct the grammar rules to take certain courses. Okay. So it's to help. So maybe Shatru specific rules that will apply because Shatru Pratyaya is being added. If the grammar engine was told At Pratyaya is being added, it doesn't get excited to do the Shatru related activities, right? So that is the object oriented nature I mentioned of programming. That object orientation is this. Object At itself carries the Sh and R to trigger the program lines that should activate for them. Okay? Udaharanam. Path plus Shatru At Pathat. Is any Indian language engineered like this? It is engineered using these words. That's all. Okay? So only Sanskrit has this precision in it. And this is not even complete picture. In fact, it should have shown Pat, Shatru, Patat plus Tip, Pathan in Pullinga. Okay? See, Patat is the Pratipadika of Patan. So further there is Patat plus tip, and tip replaced by the first Pullinga Ekavachana form because our Akanksha is to do Pratama Ekavachana, etc. etc. Likh plus Shatru, Likhat, At, Likhat. Creed plus Shatru, Creedat. Upavishat, Upavish plus Shatru, Upavishat, etc. Shatru Pratyaya is added only to Parasmai Pada roots. See, now they're starting with something very dominant. So there are there are three types of dhatus. The 2000 dhatus that I mentioned, like Bhu Dhatu, Pat Dhatu, Likh Dhatu, etc. They all belong to the set of 2000 dhatus, and those 2000 dhatus are also broken up into 10 chunks. Okay, they're called ganas. So you have seen all this in your earlier lessons. So why the gana division is there of the dhatus? Because the dhatus in a particular gana take on similar pratyaya construction forms. They have duplication in some dhatus. They all belong to some gana. This kind of thing. Some dhatus have the ati type of ending, etc. Some dhatus have some yati type of ending. These things are there. Okay. So further, in addition to in addition to being classified into dasha ganas, even sitting in those ganas, each dhatu has one of three possible nature to it called paditva. So that parasmai paditva, atmane paditva, or ubaya paditva. That means it can have parasmai sense, atmane sense, or dual sense. Okay. Now, in the ancient world, these were being very carefully used, especially for Ubayapadi dhatus. For dhatus that have Ubayapaditva, they can take Parasmaipadi form or Atmanepadi form. The language skilled, those skilled in the language used to use the correct form. So when the action was for the sake of not one's own, for also for others, then Parasmaipadi forms used to be used. When the action was purely self-centered, then Atmanepadi forms used to be used for Ubayapadi dhatus. But over time, that nature of Parasmai, meaning of Parasmai, meaning of Atmane has little bit melted. So today, this Parasmai Paditva we identify only as the Pratyaya form taking that thing, not in the meaning of Parasmai. Okay, but because it is of Parasmai nature, it takes Ati instead of Ate. And it takes Ate instead of Ati because of Atmane nature. If it is Ubayapadi, then it takes both Ati and Ate endings. Okay, in those cases, Karoti versus Kurute, for example. Karoti, Ramaha Karyam Karoti. Rama is doing some work, so he is doing some work not for selfish needs, he is doing work for others. Ramaha Karyam Kurute. It means he is doing something for himself almost. Okay, that subtle variation is there, but that sense is a little bit melted. Yogeshwarya has a question. You are unmuted, Yogeshwarya. You have a question? Yogesh Shendra? No. Okay, I'll mute him. Must have accidentally got unmuted. At least I don't hear him. Maybe his mic is not functional. Technically, he is unmuted, but microphone is not picking up his voice. So now some of these Kridantas, they have an affiliation with this Paditva of the Dhatu. So if it is a Parasmaipadi Dhatu, like for example, Path Dhatu is a Parasmaipadi Dhatu, then it cannot take the other type of Pratyaya. It has to take Shatru Pratyaya. Whereas Vand is an Atmanepadi Dhatu. So there cannot be no Vandan is not allowed. Vandan is a Shatranta, which is illegal. So it has its own Vandamanaha, something like that is there. Okay. So it has its own Shanach variation. You will learn more about Shanach Pratyaya in the following lessons. Now, as far as meaning goes, Shanach is also present continuous, Shatru is also present continuous, except they are distinct in the sense that this can be used with some dhatus, this can be used with other dhatus. And in some dhatus, when both padis are allowed, both can be used, like Kru dhatu, Kurvan, okay, and then Kurute, Kurvanaha, something like that comes, okay, as far as my memory serves me. So Beauty of Sanskritam. Meaning is not different, but the application is different due to grammar. Now, so see, I said 110 plus Kridanta. See, Shatru, Shanach, 2 got covered. We are over Ktavatu, Kta, 2 more got covered like this. So each one has a different vector. Ktavatu is for Kartari Bhuta Kridanta, Kta is for Karmani Bhuta Kridanta, Shatru is for Parasmai Padi Vartamana Kridanta. I mean, if I continue to use the Vartamana sense that they used. Okay, these kind of senses is there, variations are there. Shanach is also Vartamana Kridanta, but Parasmai Atmanepadi Nam Vartamana Kridanta. Evam. A participle ending in Shatru Pratyaya takes different forms in 3 genders. We saw all this, but anyway, first, no, we have not seen. We have only seen Pullinga forms so far, right? First time they are introducing us to the Linga variation. So, Patat is the, Pat Dhatus At. Patat becomes Patan in Pullinga, Patanti. See, Patanti, Dirga you see. Patanti Strilinga, Patat in Napumsaka. So, the Patat remains Patat. So the Pratipadika is the sup pratyaya in the Napumsaka when added doesn't have any additional visible transformation, remains Patat, but there is a sup here, which is Napumsaka sup is there. Okay? It's not here. These present participles are declined in all 3 genders, 7 vibhaktis and 3 vachanas, 8 vibhaktis. Okay. What is the 8th vibhakti? It is actually a subservient to Pratama, that is Sambodhana Pratama. Okay? Why will somebody be using Sambodhana Pratama for Shatru Pratyaya? Yeah, you can rule it out. Hey Gachan, who will say Hey Gachan? I mean, okay, chodi dijiye. In the following lessons, you will be introduced to this step by step. Note. The masculine nominative singular, they murderous, right? Masculine, pullinge, nominative, nama, singular, ekavachane. So, pullinga, ekavachana, namapadam, asti shatrantam. So, pullingaikavachana nama shatrantam closely resembles the Lat Pratama Purusha Bahuvachana form of a root. So here this is just not Panini nature of teaching. This is a play, a little bit of simplification they are trying to bring, because similar prakriyas are used in the Panini path. It's kind of resulting in this way. So likhati goes to likhanti, we know, no? So in the ti you remove, you get likhan, right? So they are saying it's like that. Pibati, pibanti, piban. Khadati, khadanti, khadan. Same way you can say Strilinga form, for example. Likati, likanti, likanti, it will become. Pibati, pibanti, pibanti, it will become. So this kind of thing. It's a hint saying, check the Bahuvachana, you will know whether the Nakara comes or not come. Okay. Some Bahuvachanas don't have Nakara, right? So that will be helpful. Anyway, they are not going to take us to complex verbs and all that now too much. If they teach, they will highlight it in the book. Samskrita Bharati is not trying to, through these 4 levels of Sanskritam, you will just to reach that, what you call, ability to take on higher Shastras and start attacking them. That's all. Okay, higher Shastra means Vyakarana Shastra only. The following are the Shatranta forms of roots in Pullinga Pratama Vibhaktihi. Patan, patantau, patantaha. First time they made it tabular for us. Patan, patantau, patantaha. So Dvivachana also shown. See, we saw examples of Dvivachana in the previous slide. Likhan, likantau, likantaha. Okay, so with that, we have come to the exercise. So let us do this exercise and call it a day. Usually this is when you will, sometimes I will crowdsource. So I do 2 forms of exercise participation by students. So your interaction with me is in 2 places. One is whenever you want to ask a question, you have the freedom to do that. Okay. And you guys are doing it very elegantly. Some of you are waiting for me to notice you are unmuted or you have risen your hand, etc. Very nice. Another place where you interact is in these kind of intermediate question answers places. And there will be 2 types there called crowdsourcing and single sourcing. Crowdsourcing is when hopefully not all 74 of you, but a good lot of you unmute and try to shout your answer. And I get an average sense of what you are saying. And the other one is called targeted. Wait, Ramvarya, I will call you. The other sense is called targeted. Okay, then I'll be calling by name. So some of you have this name, iPad 14, iPhone 14, etc. Not useful. I cannot call you as, hey, iPad 14, can you answer me? No. Some of you have 3-letter short names like DGP. Little less useful for me. It'll be nice if you put your first name there. I won't steal your name and do anything. So please feel free. Okay. So yeah. Ramvarya, you have a question?
Yeah, sir, in the previous slide, actually, like you mentioned that when it came to the verb, right, masculine and feminine. But what I understand is when I write the address of any verb, right, it is going to be the, like dhatu, linga. Sorry, there is no linga, right?
There is no linga. There is no linga.
Yeah, so
see, for Tigantas, there is no linga. For Kridantas, there is linga. Though Kridantas continue to carry the verb power, like Kritavan. Kritavan continues to carry the Kridatu's action. But it is masculine associates. For example, Kritavan has to be accurately translated as the fellow who did. Okay? So, Ramaha karyam kritavan. Rama, the work, the fellow who did. Okay, is the literal Butler translation of Ramaha Karyam Kritavan. So the fellow who did is a noun, na?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it follows.
That's why it takes the linga.
So it follows the linga of the noun.
Linga of the noun to which it is associated. If it is a kartari krudanta like Kritavan, then it follows Ramaha Pratama Karta. But if it is, for example, Ramena Pataha Patitaha. Pataha is karma. Yeah. So Pataha's linga is pullinga. So Patitaha Ktanta takes the pullinga form.
Okay. Yeah.
Or Sitaya. So Sitaya Pataha Patitaha. Why you only use Rama? Let us have Sita also become educated. Sitaya Pataha Patitaha. Like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is clear, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So this is crowdsource. So where, you just go at it. So let us first read what is the directive. Adho nirdishtanam latlakara bahuvachanantam rupam shatranta pullinga pratamaika vachanantam rupam cha udaharananusaram likata. Don't get scared by these beautiful sentences. Okay? Adho nirdishtanam adaha. Below, nirdesha, indication, nirdishtanam, of those that are indicated. So, of those that are indicated below, shashti bahuvachana. Lat lakara bahuvachanantam rupam, visheshana visheshya. The present tense, plural ended form, plural ending form. Shatranta pullinga pratamaika vachanantam rupam cha. The corresponding Shatranta type pullinga masculine prathama vibhakti ekavachana ending form also. So that's what. First you write the kriya latlakara form, then you write me the corresponding pullinga Shatranta form. This is nice. Nicely they have defined it in beautiful Sanskrit sentences as samasta padas. Udaharananusaram likata. Following the guidance as indicated by the example, please you write. And here you are going to shout. Patati, patanti, patan. Kridati.
Kridanti,
Kridanti, kridan. Play. Namati.
Namanti,
naman. Bow. Gacchati. Gachanti, gachan. Go. Pashyati. Pashyanti, pashyan. Well done. Dhavati. Dhavanti, dhavan. Run. Of course, I have only given the primitive dhatu meaning. So you guys know. Kridanti is they are all playing. Kridan is one single fellow is playing. Only thing is when you are unmuted, no, try to not do other oral activities at the time that you are unmuted. It's okay. Little bit noise we can take. Milati.
Milanti.
Milanti, milan, meet. Yachati.
यच्छन्
This is same as da dhatu, giving. So give. Okay, yachanti, yachan. Smarati. Remember. Smaranti, smaran, remember.
Vahanti.
Vahati becomes vahanti, vahan, carry. Bharavaha comes from the vah dhatu, you see. Bhara is weight and vaha is the one who carries. So bharavaha. Same vah dhatu. See how dhatus are embedded everywhere. You have to know. Okay. Tadayati. Tadayanti, tadayan. Beating, beat. Nrityati. Nrityanti, nrityan. Balikaha nrityanti. Balakaha nrityan gacchati. Bhajati. Bhajanti, bhajan. Singing. Okay, bhajana. Okay. Sing is one sense, a few other sense. Dandayati. Dandayanti, dandayan. Okay, punish. Kupyati. Kupyanti, kupyan.
Pravishanti.
Pravishati, pravishanti, pravishan. Enter. That's kopaha, namapada kopaha comes from the kup dhatu. See? Dhatu janita. Most things are dhatu janita. Lots of nouns are dhatu janita. Okay. Yes.
It is pashyati. We are not using drishyanti or drishyan here, no? It is just pashyanti and pashyanti.
Because we already know what is the correct form. Drishyanti is not allowed for the pashyanti only is there.
Okay.
Drish changes for other lakaras is there. Okay. Darshayanti is different from pashyanti. Darshayanti is used in the nich form, that is to show another. Okay. Okay, what Bhagini's question? I think it was question of Sundari Varye. She is my earlier student also. So Sundari Varye's question was related to some dhatus. They are the original dhatu is not looking like what we are looking at. Like pashyati, the dhatu is drish. She is correct. The original dhatu is drish. But according to some Paninian Prakriya, pash is the replacement for drish in some lakaras and in some kridantas. So Pashyan Shatranta also uses pash variation of drish dhatu. Okay? That happens to gam dhatu also. See, gam gacchati, gam dhatu goes to gach, transfer. So gachan. So transformed version. But some places it is untransformed. So nam dhatu, naman. Creed dhatu, creedan. Okay. That's a good point. She is highlighting that sometimes just the original dhatu form is not used, its transformed form is used, but generally you will know the transformed form even looking at some lakaras, you would have learned them. Okay. All right, so we will do this one more exercise and calling it a day with this slide. So again a big detail, adho nirdishtanam kriyapadanam shatranta pullinga ekavachanantam roopam. Something is cut off by me. Okay. Rupam cha udaharananusaram. Actually, this should be, I think the order is a little bit different. So, patayati, patayan, patayantaha. So, here what happened, you don't need to go back to this latlakara bahuvachana form. You should go shatranta ekavachana and bahuvachana. Bahuvachanantam rupam cha udaharananusaram likata. That bahuvachanantam, I have lost it in the title. Okay. So, patayati, patayan, patayantha. One teaches. One who is teaching as many are teaching. That's it. Anusarati. Anusaran. Follow. Okay. See this anu upasarga added to sru dhatu actually. Okay. So the sru is to move, anu is to move behind, something like that. So beautiful derivation of following. Okay. Alapati. Alapatantaha is too far. Alapantaha. Okay. So alapana is crying. Okay. Yeah. It is not alapana. Alapana, Sangeeta alapana is a type of crying, but it is more musical, lovable crying.
But it is alapan.
Padma Nageshwarya, you have a question? Okay, I think she has touched the thing without knowing what she's doing. Skalati. Skalan, skalantaha, slip. Gayati. Gayan, gayantaha. So here slip is not a paper slip. Slip means to slide off. Okay. Paper slip is called a slip because it also slides if you lose grip on it. Gayan, gayantaha. Here it is very clear. Singing. Prichati. Prichan, prichantaha. Ask. Okay. Varnayati. Varnayantaha. Describe. Okay. Parishilayati. Examining. Parishilana. Again, pari upasarga is there. Okay. Sheel is a type of paying attention, maybe sheel in that. Okay. We have to see what sense of original sheel is transformed here. But anyway, upasargas change the dhatu quite a bit. Okay. Kilayati. Lock, to lock. Kili is also coming from the same dhatu, kilana. Bhayayati. Bhayayantaha. See here, this is bhi dhatu and bhaya. The namapada bhaya comes from this. Bhitihi comes from this. They are all different types of transformation of the bhi dhatu only. Okay, but in the thing latlakara, it takes the form not bhiyati or something. It takes bhayayati. Okay, here this one is an interesting thing. But even the niche form, that is when you are making someone else afraid, then also the same form bhayayati is there. But in that sentence, for example, Kamsaha balakam bhayayati. So Kamsa makes the balaka feel fear. That one is a transferred verb, right? He creates the feeling of bhaya in the balaka. Kamsaha Krishnaya bhayayati. He is afraid himself because of for Krishna. Like that kind of thing. That's why I picked up Kamsa. Okay. Pravishati. Pravishantaha. So entering. Okay. Vish is to sit. Pravesha is to enter. Upavish is actually sit. So vish dhatu has multiple transformation happening. Okay. So current continuous tense is what I title it. Parasmaipadi dhatunam shatra pratyayantah prayogaha pullinge pratama vibhaktau ekavachane bahuvachane ta asmabhihi drishtaha. To etena atra pratahkalina kakshayaha samapti ghoshanam kriyate. Okay, 1 minute. Mute everyone. I muted it. Oh, wait. Okay, so madhyanhe, aparanhe, punah trivadane milamaha. Trivadane punah sarve agachantu samayam kinchit sthapayitva agachantu kinchit agre gamishyamaha. Bahurasti patitum. Astu tarhi namo namaha.
Same link, sir.
Same link every time. Okay.
धन्यवादः
Thank you. धन्यवादः महोदय.
Namaste.
Even the password will remain the same, sir.
Everything is same.
Password number will.
Everything is same, sir.
धन्यवादः, sir.